Today I want to show you some tips about cutout animation. My friend Reece Dieterman has a lot of incredible talent at doing animation, and he's trying to get the hang of doing some more harmony cutout type. I'm going to go over his work.
Want to hear a chemistry joke? Is that a no? Oh, sorry, did you want a reaction?
And show you what I would do to enhance it.
Oh, sorry, did you want a reaction?
First of all, let's start off by talking about what cutout puppets are. Do you remember back in elementary school when you would cut out from paper a design of a face and some arms and legs and put them together with little pin clasps? And then you could move the arms and rotate them. That's the same kind of thing that we're doing in Toon Boom Harmony. We're drawing all these pieces, and then we're going to put pivot points and then even draw some cell swaps if we need a different kind of a hand position or a different mouth. Now that we've got the groundwork, let's jump into Reece's scene and I'll show you some things that I would do to enhance it. When this guy blinks, it happens so fast that it's a little flashy. That's something that you want to be cautious of, is whenever you do an eye blink, yeah, he only lets it go for 1 frame. So let's make that last a little bit longer. So I'm going to click on those, and I'm going to switch to selection only mode. And I can zoom in here. I'm using middle mouse and control. You could also zoom in with this magnifying slider. I'll go ahead and show the thumbnails here too so you can see what's going on. So when you do a blink, you want it to last at least 2 frames. I'm going to see what happens if we do it for 3 frames. Okay, I think that felt a little bit better. Shift select, and then you can press plus to extend the exposure on the timeline. And as you see, it moved everything else down too. So now I need to click over there and press minus to bring that all back. And usually what you like to do is you like it to ease into the blink quickly, and then it'll stay on the blink, and then let's ease out of the blink. I'm going to show my drawing substitutions, or Reece's drawing substitutions rather. Let's see, I think I already have them here. I'm going to switch it over. So Reece is working with Toon Boom Harmony Advanced, and I'm using Premium, so I'm going to do my best to just stay within the features that are available in Advanced. That cell swap, and then it'll be all the way open. Okay, so now we need to take care of those eyebrows, right? And I'm going to guess that those are keyframed. So what I want to do is I'm going to go to peg selection mode. So this is going to select the pegs where the animation is keyframed, where it's moving, right? I'm going to adjust this here. I'm going to press reset. There we go. Let's see how that looks. And I think that maybe we do want it to look a little different. I'm going back and forth between my keyframes. Let's see here. And we are going to let this happen later when the eyes are back open. And then we want this position to stay down here longer. So what I'm doing is I'm dragging the keyframes that were right here. So when it's just barely coming up a little bit, I'm going to select these, and I'm just going to drag those further down. So now the tween, it doesn't pop back up until there. I'm going to just, on my playback toolbar, I'm going to set a start point here and a stop point here, and then I'm going to put it on a loop, and then I'm going to press play. Alright, so next up I also saw that there was a blink over here on this guy. I'm going to get out of peg selection mode. I'm using my transform and animate current frame tools. Alright, so it's usually not a good idea to do a staggered blink. Both of the eyes should blink at the same time. There we go. Got that. Let's see if that green guy is doing the same thing. Let's check his eyes. Alright, so this is good. It's down for 2 frames, and we're working at 24 frames a second. I'm just going to extend that a little bit more. The same concept happens when you're working with lip sync. If you're trying to hit lip sync positions, you want them usually to stay visible for at least 2 frames. If it's not going to hold for 2 frames, you probably don't want to just hit it for just 1 frame, because then it starts to look really flashy and too fast. So the times when I will use 1 frame is if I go to a wide open mouth and then I want to kind of ease into the next pose. Sometimes I will go ahead and use 1 frame of the slightly more closed and then snap to the next position. Alright, the next thing I'd like to do, I'm going to jump out of the selection only mode. I want to go to normal view mode so I can see everything. Now I'm going to go to full screen and show you what the timeline looks like here. So as you can see, there are keyframes, and then the lines between them are interpolation, so that means it's tweening, and it's going from values. If you've used Toon Boom, you know what's going on, but here you can see that the velocity is here. There might be rotation values that would be changing on different properties. Yeah, this is a good example. The head is rotating between these frames, and then the computer just figures it out for you, and it does it perfectly from there to there. Now, this is one of the struggles with cutout animation. Sometimes it looks too perfect, and you can tell that a computer's the one that did it. So we need to go through and touch it up ourselves. So another thing that I would like to point out here is you can see that there are keyframes that are here on the drawing layers as well on the peg layers. It's best practice to not put any keyframes on the drawing layers. And so I'm going to show you what I would recommend doing if you find yourself in this situation. If you don't have this going on, you can skip to the next part. But let me just show you what's happening. I'm going to open up the functions view. And as you can see, this shows you when the angles are changing of that arm. Okay? And I don't use the function view a whole lot. I used to more until I learned a different way to animate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check on the drawing layers to see if there is any animation. As you can see, it stays at 0. This is I've clicked to show the rotation values. And that's pretty much all that it looks like Reece was animating on most of these. But I could show the X and Y values as well. Anyways, I just want to focus on the rotation. I'm going to press 9 so I can see everything. And then what I want to do right now is I just want to clean all of these keyframes off of the layers, off of the drawing layers. So usually this is F7. Alright, now I'm not wiping out the keyframes on the pegs, I'm just wiping them out on the drawing layers. And this is something where Harmony has a little bit of an advantage over some of the other software that are out there, where sometimes you draw things on the drawing layer and it puts the keyframes on the drawing layer too, and there's nothing you can do to change that. So this is why I like Harmony. So if you're wondering how I'm doing this, I'm just clicking in one place, then I'm holding Shift and selecting somewhere else, and then I'm removing keyframes, which you could also access by going here, delete keyframes. Alright, something else that I would like to note is it would be nice now if we could tell Harmony to not let us put keyframes on these layers. Go click on the rig again. Center on selection, it's usually O. If I double click on this, you'll see that this drawing layer right here in the Controls tab under Animation, it says Animate using animation tools. That means that if I use Animate Current Frame and Transform and I move this, it's going to put a little keyframe here, and it's going to record a difference in the position, the XYZ, or the rotation. Okay, but we don't want those to happen on the drawing layers. We only want it to happen on the pegs. So what we actually want to do is we want to go through and we want to uncheck Animate using animation tools on that layer. So now if I were to click on that face and move it, you see it does not put a keyframe on the drawing layer. Instead, it puts a keyframe on the peg above. That's the behavior that we want. So let me show you really quick. If you've made a rig and you don't want to have to go through and click on every single drawing layer, double click and uncheck Animate using animation tools. Thankfully, Toon Boom gave us a button to take care of that for us. What I'm going to do is I'm going to customize my toolbar here. Right click and then choose Customize. And thankfully in Harmony 20 there's a search box. This is called TB underscore set properties on many layers. So I'm going to click on this white arrow, add it, hit apply, hit OK, and now I'm going to go to full screen, Control F twice on my timeline, and just to make sure I'm selecting everything, I'm going to press 9 to expand everything, and then I am going to select the very top layer, scroll down, press Shift, select all of the other layers, and then I'm going to click on this Set Properties for Many Layers button, and then I am going to choose Animate using animation tools off. Hit OK, and what it does is now if I were to open up any of these drawings, it'll show you that that checkmark box is now unchecked. So no matter what I do with my transform tool and animate on current frame, you will never see a keyframe getting put on the drawings themselves. It's going to stay on the pegs. The next part that I want to show you is how to set that as a default for yourself when you're making future projects and rigs. If you go up to Edit Preferences, the setting is here in Advanced. By default, this is usually checked. It's called Element Node Animate using Animation Tools Default Value. We want to uncheck that. So now, whenever we create a new drawing, automatically this checkbox will not be checked. So it will just behave putting all of the keyframes on the pegs instead of on the drawing layers. So now I have cleaned that up. I'm going to press 0 to collapse everything. Okay, so I think that this is the character, yeah. So what I want to do is I want to select the character. I'm going to go ahead and color this drawing layer. I'm going to use this Change Track Color button. You can customize your toolbar to include that. I'm just going to make it green. And this will just make it easy for me to find that layer. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is I want to go ahead and save the poses that he's already made. So I'm going to insert a keyframe here, and I'm going to go ahead and mark this drawing, Mark Frame, and I'm going to mark it as red, which is pressing Shift 1. I think I may have customized that. You might need to do that yourself if you want, but I'm going to put that as a main pose, and then I'm just going to use my next keyframe. I'm going to go to the very next pose. That's an extreme. I'm going to mark that one. Okay, I'm going to mark this one. Okay, I like how he did this head tilt, bringing it down. So as you can see, there's a blue keyframe. That's a little hard to see on the screen. I'm going to change my track color to something else. There, that's easy. Okay, so you can see this blue keyframe. That means that this layer and maybe some of the children are keyframed. Here you see white keyframes. That means the current layer does not have any keyframes on it. It's just some of the children layers do. So what I'm going to do is on these main poses that I want to make sure to keep, I'm going to make sure to insert a keyframe so that every single layer below is keyframed too. And something else that I'll show you is you can see that Reece was animating using the interpolation from Harmony, and I found that when you leave the interpolation on, it looks very computery. It looks too perfect, and we can enhance it by getting rid of the interpolation. At the end, we want to put this animation on 2s, so there will be a keyframe on every second frame. We won't have any interpolation showing up. And I know that sounds scary for somebody that's worked with interpolation for so long. I remember the first time that somebody told me to get rid of it all, and it terrified me. Alright, so anyways, I have keyframed the important poses. I'm going to shift select, press delete. It removes exposures. Those drawings are still available in the library as cell swaps. They're just not showing up right now. And they also deleted all of the other keyframes I didn't need. And now I'm going to press F5, extend exposure. I set mine to end instead of extend exposure. Sorry, instead of F5. So I have now removed the interpolation and everything. Oh, let's set our start point at the beginning and our end point at the end. And I'm going to set everything on stop motion keyframes. Usually there's a button that's here in the toolbar. You can right click and choose set stop motion keyframes. I set my own shortcut Shift E, but it's usually Control L. Alright. Oops.
Want to hear a chemistry joke? So no. Oh, sorry. Did you want a reaction?
Okay. So I know it looks really choppy right now, but this is going to help us because what we want to do is we want to really focus on each of these poses first, and then we're going to tween and do easing in and out and then filling out arcs to make the animation feel more full. Since he is only going to be moving from his torso, not from his legs, I'm actually going to go ahead and just move this pivot point. I'm using the advanced animation toolbar, and I'm using the rotate tool. Shortcut is Alt 3. I'm going to move this up here. Alright. Next thing I want to show you is whenever you have an action, you want the rest of the body to react as well. So from here, let's move him forward a little bit. Okay, great. So now his whole torso is moving to this. And whenever we're doing animation, we like to start off broad and get down to the details later. So first, let's get the torso doing what we want it to do. Then let's come back and work on the arms and legs. No legs in this case, but arms, legs, and the head and the neck. Alright, so I'm just going to jump through my timeline here. Now let me tell you, usually going from keyframe to keyframe is semicolon and apostrophe. Those are the shortcut keys. I would highly recommend getting your shortcut keys down. But I have set mine to A and F, and I had to replace a bunch of other shortcuts. It's just I do cutout animations so much that I want my left hand to be able to live on ASDF without having to, I don't want to have to look down to go and find the semicolon and the apostrophe. If you end up doing A and F as your shortcut keys, you'll need to remap enable and previous drawing. To rotate, you'd have to come up here to the edge and click on this to rotate. But that's a very tiny spot in the whole screen to grab. The easier way to do it is to press Alt and hold down the middle mouse button anywhere on the screen, and you can rotate it. It'll make you a lot faster if you can do that. Okay, he's looking forward. Here, maybe I'm even going to just like stretch the whole thing. And when you stretch, you also want to squash to try to keep the sizes of all the pieces consistent. Now he's coming down. Let's move him over here a little bit. So as I'm going through, I'm trying to look at the arcs that are happening here. So he's going to do kind of a shift on his hip. So let's bring him down a little bit more. And notice how his head, it's staying on an arc. I'm just going to squash the whole character down at this point a little bit. Now, it's only okay to go ahead and do these broad squashes and stretches if you go ahead and move all of the other pieces below as well. Otherwise, it looks really cut out and people can tell that you're just using a computer. Okay, leans back, leans forward. I think I want to lean forward a little bit more. He's doing a take, kind of. Alright, I've got the torso doing what I want. Now I'm going to get the head and the neck doing what I want. I'm going to enter into peg selection mode. So what this does is, right now, if I were to select something, and if I press O, center on selection, it's going to go and select the drawing layer. And then if I want to parent up, I have to press B to get to the peg. Or if I'm using my transform tool in Animate current frame, I'm going to use in tool properties peg selection mode. Now if I click on the piece, it jumps straight up to the peg so that I don't have to do as much parenting up. Alright, so one thing is that that piece of the hand, the peg is in kind of a funny spot. So this one is more reasonable. I think I'm not going to go through and fix everything, but let me just show you what I would do if I needed to. That's the correct hand. This is a part of the hand. Center on selection, double click on this. You'll see that the pivot point was not set, so I'm going to go ahead and copy it from the correct place on the parent hand down to there. Okay. Okay, so now let's get the head and the neck doing what we want. I'm going to go ahead and move this pivot point of the neck down to here. Now, my preference for making a neck is I would usually draw a full circle coming down here, and then I would draw lines, and I would make like a masking cutter to cut that part below. But I'm just going to work with what we have here. I'm going to just skew the neck back a little bit. And now it comes forward automatically because that's where it was in the first place. Bring it forward, squash it down. Every part of the body you're doing a movement should react. Now we're going to go to the face. I don't want him to look like he's picking his nose. Alright, let's see. Just going to add a little bit more. Okay, and now I think I need to do a little bit more touch up on that neck. Okay, that's good. Let's work on the arms. These are the main poses. We want them to be as clean as possible, so I'm going to try to make sure everything's lining up appropriately. I want to try to move everything. Clean it up. Let's go ahead and the reason that we like to add a peg on top of everything, okay, is I want right now to squash that forearm, but as you can see, the way that the rig has been built is that the hand is connected to the forearm, and so if I smash this, it smashes the hand as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the hand itself. You get the forearm, and then you get the hand under it. I'm actually going to go into the properties here of this hand, and I am going to say ignore parent scaling. So now, if I scale the forearm, the hand doesn't smash, which is what I'm going to do for this animation. Usually what I will do is I will go ahead and, let me show you in the node view, it's a little easier to see what's going on. I'm going to find that forearm, I'm going to find that hand, find that hand. So usually what I will do is I would have the forearm, and I'd add a peg above the forearm, and then hook that up so that the forearm is independent, and then this forearm, let's name it forearm hand. So I can select the forearm to squash and stretch it, and I can select the hand to squash and stretch it, and I can also select the forearm and the hand to select both of them at the same place so they can both move together. If you build it this way to start off with, you shouldn't have a problem with it breaking like this. I'm just going to press undo, but that's usually how I would build it. It's a little harder to see what's going on down here in the timeline view. In Harmony Advanced, it's easier to see it in the node view. Just going to try to add movement and void tangents. I don't want that line lining up with this collar. Okay. Okay, now here his arm is moving too much. Actually, I'm going to move that back a little bit. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the timeline, I'm going to tween, set a motion keyframe. I want to push plus a bunch of times, just so there's a little bit of movement, but not as much. I'm going to click on this part of the timeline. Now, if I were to press center on selection again, oh, you'll see that this is the collapsed bicep, and it has all those other pieces below it. And so I could insert a keyframe here, copy it, and then press undo, 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 and then I could paste it here to get just a little bit of movement. Actually, if he's going down, I'm just thinking, how does his body react? And now let's get that hand so it's not stuck there. You just really want to, this is kind of more of a breakdown pose, like what happens from here to there. And so Reece already had good stuff going on where he brought it back towards the face to give us some changes to work with in position. Okay. Something that really helps animation is to use shoulders, and let's see if we can just make it look like he's raising his shoulder there a little bit. Okay, I think I like how that arm's working. Now I'm going to come back through and work on this other arm. I'll show you a general thing about cutout animation. Here, I think the arm is looking okay, except he's missing his wrist. What I want to do is this first pose, you can tell that this is cut out. You wouldn't normally draw the arm to look like that. In Harmony Premium, you can put deformers on any piece that you want, envelope deformers, and then you can change the shape of it. Often in studios, people can do a draw over. They would draw over a pose to show you how they would improve it, because sometimes the computer, it just looks too stiff. It doesn't look natural enough. For example, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you what I would do. I'm going to add a drawing layer. I'm just going to call it sketch. And I'm just going to sketch really quick in here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create a sketch swatch. Sketch. I like to draw with blue pencil. It's just a habit for drawing on paper. I like to use my Prismacolor Col Erase. Okay, so now I'm going to sketch this, and I'm going to use draw on top, bring to on top, and I'm going to use this light table feature. The light table settings are right here. You can wash out how much you don't want to see. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw it the way that I would normally draw it. So in the art, you could clean it up a little bit more. I'm going to exit peg selection mode. I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to go center on selection, and I'm going to add an empty drawing, and then I'm going to enter into the pencil tool, and then I am going to see what colors he's using. The black. Okay, I'm going to use the pencil. Okay. And it looks like he's actually using a consistent line weight line tool. Alt-Q, the white selector, it lets you deal with the contour points. This is called the stroke tool. It's Alt-V, and I'm going to press K to show strokes. And then I'm going to go and sample that color. It is 29. I'm going to use my paint bucket tool and fill that in. I'm going to cut it off of there and put it on the color art layer, and the forearm didn't change enough for me to worry about changing it. So I'm just going to delete that sketch, or maybe I'll just turn that sketch layer off now. And I'm going to go ahead and color that sketch layer blue, just so it stands out and I can quickly find it in the future. Okay. You can see that my line weights are too thick, so I am going to go ahead, I'm going to turn off the both of those options. Select these. I'm going to press down in the tool properties. Let's see how that looks. It looks like it fits in a little bit better. Okay. Next pose. I like Reece, nice job making his hands go straight. It adds some contrast there. Just want to squish this arm. I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to tell the children to ignore the scaling of their parents. It looks a little bit more natural. Just trying to think of how is this going to happen. He's going to go down, so his arm might come up a little, and then push away. So it's an anticipation and then push away. And then I want to make sure that that's doing an arc, so I'm going to fill it out later. And actually, I think I'm just going to come in here and have this curved arm be here for the... just going to... It looks a little bit more natural. Here, I think I want to make this look like it's doing some foreshortening. This is a big thing that you see in cutout animation. If all you're ever doing is just moving it and rotating it, it looks too perfect. You need to get some of this going on where the arm is coming towards the camera and changing perspective in 3D. You intentionally need to add that. I'm going to press Alt down to bring this forward. He's going to bring it towards himself, and then he's going to push it away. Maybe. Maybe. Okay. Next up, let's watch and see how this is looking.
Want to hear a chemistry joke? Is that a no? Oh, sorry. Did you want a reaction?
Okay. It's hard to tell what this is looking like so far, but if I can go back and forth between the poses, I can. Next thing I want to do is I want to work on the perspective on the face. From here to there, from here to there, his face, it would like turn towards us more. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to move every piece of the little less cut out. I think this part of the eye, this hair looks kind of weird because it's behind the eye. I'm going to use Animate off, and then I'm going to use Alt up, which means push away from me. So it's going to put that hair behind the head. And then it did that for all of the timeline. Alright, okay, so now we've got some head rotation going on. And now let's track the eye. So I'm going to move that glass, and then I'm going to click the eye and press undo. So it's still selected, and I can go ahead and move the eye where I want it to be. In order to get that to work, they added something in Harmony 20 where that's not the normal behavior. You have to uncheck undoable selections in order to make it work like that. Alright, so it looks like the eyes, it would be nice if they were cut to the white. Ooh, these pivot points need to be updated. And now when he's going down, we actually want to have everything go down a little bit more too. We might as well go big or go home, right? Just try to do big enough changes so you can see it happening, right? And now he's back to this position, and now he's coming down, and I really like that he was pushing this, and I would push these features down even more. we've got that. So now I'm going to show you how to go from one action, one pose to another pose. Okay, I'm going to animate this part a little bit more because this is the most involved. I'm going to press start.
Reaction.
Okay, right now I feel like there's too much movement going on in that short of a space of time. So, but I kind of like the poses, so I kind of want to keep it. Let's go ahead and just move the poses a little further apart to give ourselves a little bit more time to enjoy those poses.
You want a reaction, or did you want a reaction, or did you want a reaction?
That's too slow now. And I like to keep my poses on the odd frames.
Reaction, or did you want a reaction, or did you want a reaction, or did you want a reaction?
That doesn't feel right. Let's have him jump up a little earlier maybe. Okay, the more I look at this, and I do play testing all the time, doing that playback. I want to get this hand where I want it. Okay. I think that'll work for now. And let's go ahead and collapse. Let's just go up to our main master peg and press center on selection. If you click on something and you press center on selection, it's going to go and find it in the timeline. If you press it again, it will expand the layer that you're on so you can see all the children. If you press it one more time, it'll close it all up so that it's collapsed. So here I am, the master peg to collapse it. So now I'm going to think about timing and how soon I want things to happen, what's going to lead the action, what's going to follow. Alright, so I'm going to adjust my start and stop area. Sometimes when you move a keyframe, it leaves the little white one behind, and I just wipe out those keyframes.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. I'm going to feel what should be moving first. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Okay, I think shoulders would go, but we don't have separate shoulders here. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Okay, so the head, I think the head's going to go first. Oh, sorry. And then the arms are going to come after. I would tone down the action here. There's, oh, sorry, did you want to? Like, it's kind of like a roller coaster, but I would bring both of my hands up now that I'm feeling it, so I don't want his arm to go down. I want it to come up.
Oh, sorry, did you want a reaction? Oh, sorry, did you want a react?
Okay, so here I'm going to tween, set a motion keyframe, Control K for most of you, unless you've customized it, and then I'm going to think what's leading the action. Well, what's leading is I want the torso and the head to go first. The hands are going to come later. So I'm going to choose a keyframe here. Okay, so that's the body has gotten closer to the end of this movement. I'm going to slide it back. And now I don't want everything moving at exactly the same time. I'm going to make it so the arms come later. So here I'm going to take the keyframe that's there and push it forward. So now the arm is delayed. I think that was too much. I want it to be affected a little bit more. And then I'm going to make the hand drag a little bit more dynamic. I'll have it come down a little bit. When you're doing a breakthrough, breakdown pose, you want it to add a little bit more life to it. The computer is not going to give you nice, beautiful animation. You need to do that. I'll just temporarily move the peg here. So when you're using the transform and animate current frame, you'll see that when you move a peg, it leaves the ghost behind. It will return to there after you've moved this. But and now with the other arm, I want to do kind of the same thing. Take a keyframe that was more in the middle because I want the arm to be delayed. And then I'll go and touch it up. Let's add a little drag to this hair. We're on the center pose. Now we're going to collapse to master peg. Get rid of the tween.
Oh, sorry, did you want a reaction? Oh, sorry, did you want a reaction? Oh, sorry, did you want...
Now I'm thinking that wrist should, or that forearm should come down even more. Oh, sorry, did you? Sorry, did you want to?
Reaction.
Oh, sorry, did you want to?
Reaction.
I think I'll let the arms kind of lead into the next pose now. Collapse everything. I'm going to figure out something in the middle. So right now, I want the torso to kind of drag behind. So I'm going to take this and put it in the middle so the torso is not moving as far. And then I want to go ahead and get the arms and then let them start moving closer to the end position. See that? And maybe I do want the head to actually go a little bit more quickly. But maybe it can drag just a little. And I think I want this hand to look more like that fist at this point. Kind of want it to stay where it had been on the previous position.
Oh, sorry, did you want a reaction? Oh, sorry, did you want a reaction?
So now I'm happy with the poses, but I want to adjust the timing. I want him to throw his arms out a little faster, and so I'm just going to play with this timing here. I want that to happen sooner, and I don't want it to take as long to get to this final pose. Now, something I'm going to do anyways is I'm going to add more eases, so I'm going to put a motion keyframe here, and I'm going to choose something that's like almost to the end of that pose, and I'm going to drag it back here, so now it'll get almost to that pose by this point. Let's see if this is helping it.
Oh, sorry, did you want a reaction? Oh, sorry, did you want a reaction?
I think that he starts moving up a little too early. Let's move that all down.
Oh, sorry, did you want a reaction?
So something that I'm seeing here is I kind of want his face to come down a little. I want it to follow an arc, and then with that neck, it needs to respond.
Oh, sorry, did you want a reaction? Oh, sorry, did you want a reaction?
Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an overshoot on these arms. Okay, so they're going to come out to here. So this is where I want his torso to end up. Maybe. No, I think I want him to do a little overshoot. Like, that's going to be the tallest part of it, so I'll show you a little trick. I am going to come here, collapse the group, I'm going to tween, I'm going to copy, let's see, a frame or two before. So I'm going to copy this section, paste, or move this back, paste this here, so now he kind of comes to rest, and I'm going to push him back a little bit more. There, you see that? It's like a cheap, quick trick. Everything was moving. Let's see how that looks.
Oh, sorry, did you want to? Oh, sorry, did you want to?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, did you want to? Oh, sorry, did you want to?
Let's work on those arms. We want them to come out straight and then pull back. So.
Oh, sorry, did you want to? Oh, sorry, did you want to?
Still going too slow. When it hits that last pose, I want it to hit fast. Alright, so instead of having this one, which is slowing things down, I'm going to have him hit this big pose here, and then come back.
Did you want to? Oh, sorry, did you want to?
Yeah,
Oh, sorry, did you want to?
that looks better. But now we need to ease it into that last pose here. And then let's get this arc to work. Maybe it comes like that.
Oh, sorry, did you want to?
Ah, there you go.
Oh, sorry, did you want to?
And I think it would be nice to see that drag a little bit more. I think I want this arm to start coming into this position earlier, so I'm going to tween. Yeah, check that out, man.
Oh, sorry, did you want to? Oh, sorry, did you want to? Oh,
There
sorry,
you
did
go.
you want to?
Now, his hand is hitting that so fast that I kind of think the torso needs to go back quicker to respond to that.
Oh, sorry, did you want to? Oh, sorry, did you want to?
Let's go ahead and just get rid of this function stuff. I don't need to see it. Besides animators, when they're working, mostly you're just focusing on the animation and the timeline. Coming into this, I'm going to ease in, so instead of having everything moving perfectly centered like that, we're going to use this part. I'm going to press undo. I want to use this where it's just starting to come in. There. And then between here and here, I think I want it to be pretty even. I think it's such a fast movement. I want to pick something in the middle. Now, there's not a dead center. I'm going to move this back. Now I can get a dead center. Now let's play it and see what it looks like.
Oh, sorry, did you want to? Oh, sorry, did you want to? Oh, sorry, did...
Okay, so he comes here and then he stops. So we actually want to stretch that movement out a little bit more. Let's move that. I'm just moving these around to see what it looks like.
Oh, sorry, did you want to? Oh, sorry, did...
So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that all of the arcs are happening that I want. See, this is what Interpolation is not going to give you. You have to do this stuff yourself to add in like the fullness of these arcs. So now that I touched all these up, the arcs are working, the arcs are there. I eventually want everything to be on 2s. Unless there's a really slow spot, sometimes I'll leave it on 3s. So between here and here, I might actually leave it on 3s because it's just going to slowly come in. You're just mostly going to see lip sync. So what I'm going to do is from here to there, there's enough movement for something to move. And so I'm just going to ease from there to there. I'm just going, clicking here and going to the next frame. I'm going to drag this guy here. Let's see how that looks.
Oh, sorry, did you want to? Oh, sorry, did you want to?
Let's just get all this working properly first, and then we'll come back through and talk about cell swaps, because like those eyes should be blinking before now. Okay, filling out the arcs. And now you see that now that I fixed that hand, it looks problematic that the wrist is not responding. So again, this is why you want to have a separate peg for the wrist to be controlled.
Oh, sorry, did you want to? Oh, sorry, did you want to?
Okay, cool. That's good. Since it's all working nicely now, let's go ahead and put it on 2s. I'm going to put tweens. I'm going to select all this stuff, and I'm going to use this little script. This button is called Create Keyframes On. I can click 2, and I'm going to just use these options. And if there's 3D paths, it causes issues. Let's just see if it works. Sometimes it doesn't cause any issues.
Oh, sorry, did you want to? Oh, sorry, did you want to?
Yeah, it's looking like it's creating issues, so let's just do it manually. Put tweens, keyframe there, keyframe here, get rid of that keyframe, set that stop motion. Okay, it goes up a little bit, so let's move that out, drag this so it kind of eases into that. It pops too fast there. Let's ease into that. So I'm going to have an ease in here. I don't want it to ease in very much, so I'm actually going to push plus to grab something from here, press copy, press undo, undo, press paste. You can see how I was able to get that ease in really easy.
Oh, sorry, did you want to? Oh, sorry, did you want to?
This here has such a big movement that sometimes it's good to go ahead and put it on 1s and just blur the heck out of this thing. Smear frame. We'll test it because we just want something to cover that distance.
Did you want to? Oh, sorry, did you want to? Oh, sorry, did you want to?
Yeah, I think that works. Alright, we're good. Now the goal is to get everything on 2s. I'm gonna interpolate, put a keyframe here, interpolate, put a keyframe here, get rid of that middle one. Just let's see how this looks.
Sorry, did you want to? Oh, sorry, did you want to?
And honestly, I'd probably be going through this. Let's just do this really fast. The collar, go to the extreme pose, get rid of these keyframes, because here's where the motion starts. It goes from there to there. In between, go to something in the middle, see if it looks okay. So it looks like it's following an arc and doing the right stuff. This is what you have to do if you don't touch up all of your poses at the beginning, where you have to come back through and work on little pieces, drag, see if the collar's looking better now.
Oh, sorry, did you want to? Oh, sorry, did you want?
That looked good up to that red point, that main pose, but then it jumps up too fast. Here's where it can finally jump up. Let's wipe those out.
Oh, sorry, did you want to? Oh, sorry, did you want to?
This is why it's nice to have like every piece separate so that you can move them all independently, so it looks like the larger whole is working together. Get rid of all those, tween, do something in the middle, make sure it's looking okay, bring it down. Now it's looking okay, do something in the middle. On little details like this, sometimes I don't care, as long as it looks okay and it's not distracting. Okay, we've got it working all good up to that main pose, and as you can see, it's so nice marking a frame so that you can tell what your main poses are that you're trying to hit.
You want to? Oh, sorry, did you want to? Oh, sorry, did you want to?
Oh, that looks weird. That looks computery. It wouldn't move down like that. You need it to follow an arc. Let's move it up. That looks more natural. Let's see how it looks.
Oh, sorry, did you want to? Oh, sorry, did you want?
Alright, that's looking good. Last one is here. And maybe let's just put a simple ease on that into that last one. Yeah. Let's move it over here, set a tween, grab from there. Let's see if that looks okay.
Did you want to? Oh, sorry, did you want to? Oh, sorry, did you?
We could do more with hair drag and stuff like that. Skew, squash, stretch. But I think that this is going to be good enough. Get that mouth. Let's see what drawing substitutions we have. Oh, I like it to hit these things ahead of time. 2 frames ahead of time, 1 frame ahead of time. I'm going to show the first one, go to the next frame. I'm going to center on selection. I'm going to press F5 to extend the exposure. Go to the next one. I'm going to show all of these mouths. I like to start with the closed mouth, so closed mouth first. Next the M or the B or the P. Actually, I like to have that on this side. And then I'm going to have the mouth start to open. So, oh, I can zoom in on these so I can. Alright, where's the mouth starting to open? I would usually like to have something in between some of these shapes. And then after I get the mouth to open, go to the O and then to the Oo. So I have a nice smooth sequence of Ah to O to Oo. And then after that is where I put the special stuff like the F mouth. Alright, and then I'm going to go ahead and rename those. So I'm going to call this one 00. 01, 02, the S, the N. Now this one, I am going to call this 04, this one 05. I'd rather have something in between them, like a 03, where it's starting to get wider. Let's go for 07, 08, 09, and you might notice that I'm calling 09 and then 10, because you already had drawings that were labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, so I couldn't rename them 1, 2, 3, 4. I needed to have the 0 in front. It also helps them sort properly. Looks like we just need to make room. The tiny mouth, OOA. I'm going to call this one OOB. There. And now if I push my bracket keys, I can cycle through them and then I can open the mouth wider or close it. Now I'm ready to quickly do the lip sync. We go to View Selection Only mode, and now we can see the waveform, and I can focus on the lip sync stuff. So, E.
Oh, sorry, did you want to? Oh, sorry, did you want to? Oh, sorry, did you want to?
I'm going to get out of this mode. I'm going to go to the mouth. I'm going to set it all on stop motion keyframes.
Oh, sorry, did you want to? Oh, sorry, did you want to?
See, this is where it starts to look flashy. I want that to be there for at least 2 frames. The N.
Oh, sorry, did you want to? Oh, sorry, did you want to?
And so that is basically how I animate. You start with those key poses, then you go to the breakdown and you make sure that everything is filling the arcs. You figure out what is going to lead, what's going to follow, what's going to drag, and then you come back to the details later. You do cell swaps during the fastest part of the action. Oh, yeah, let's go ahead and just touch that up with the eyes here.
Oh, sorry, did you want to? Oh,
Okay, I'm going to go to the other eye. Make sure that that one is blinked. And then let's have the eyes open a little earlier. Here.
Oh, sorry, did you want to? Oh, sorry, did you?
Now with the eyes opening then, let's go ahead and make these eyebrows do the right thing to react at the right time.
Oh, sorry, did you want to? Oh, sorry, did you want?
And then it's also fun to add some stretch.
Oh, sorry, did you want to? Oh, sorry.
Cool, that looks good. I'll put the keyframes in with the rest of the places where I want it to make sure it stays put. That pivot needs to be brought over to here. You had it in the middle on the other. I kind of like to put it on the bottom. A lot of the time it just makes it easier to squash and stretch the eye.
Oh, sorry, did you want to? Oh, sorry, did you want?
Collapse that. Tween. Choose something in the middle. I think the torso would be leading here, so I'd go ahead and have the arms coming later. Add a little bit of delay on the face coming down. Add a little bit of drag onto that hair. You could add as much drag as you want. And then we're going to do the next breakdown. Come here, collapse, do a tween. Whoa, its head's doing a flip there. I'm glad that we came across this because it's very important to know how to do this. Start, stop. Okay, I think I want his head to go down further, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose two. I need 2 poses in the middle where the head flip is going to happen. So actually I don't want it to be the dead center. I'm going to choose this and wipe that out. Just filling out an arc here. Just doing some skew. Okay, I've got the torso working pretty well. And now I have these 2 positions where the head is going to flip, okay? Collapse that. So the flip needs to happen here. So I'm going to put it on 2 so that the flip happens in between there. That's going to be the fastest part of the action. I'm going to go ahead and copy this arm where it's working, paste it here, And then on the next arm, I'm going to copy from the end, because I know that it's working there, and paste it here. And now I'm going to bring it back, because now what I'm doing is I'm finding the place where everything will tween. So I can tween from this side perfectly to the center, and then I can tween perfectly from that side to the last pose. So I'm going to do the same thing with the face. I'm going to go ahead and take the head, copy and paste that to here, and maybe I'll tween and move this here so it gives me a little bit of a variation, something different before it finally comes to that pose. Let's have his head go. I'm going to copy this head, because I know that this head is working, and paste it here. So I just need to adjust this face so it matches. It's going to be easier if we close his eyes. It'll be easier to see what we're doing there. And then the other thing to do to sell a head flip is that you need to watch what's happening with all of this stuff. Make sure that there's overlapping action for all the secondary pieces. Make sure that the hair, see, essentially we're thinking that that hair is this piece. We just want it to look like that piece continued on moving. Sometimes it's easier if you use this V-Box selection style button, so it's not quite as visible when it's different. And you can also use this button, it's called Hive Manipulator Control. So now you can see that, does that look like it's kind of that? Yeah, good enough. And then you can see the little rooster tail on this guy. Let's just go ahead and put that here. Let's press Alt forward to Z-depth it behind, just so it looks like it's, there we go. Collapse to the master peg again. You see how this arm is kind of sticking right here? Let's move it a little bit. And then this hand should drag a little, and so should this forearm. There, that looks nice. And then we'll collapse it and add some eases. Move that here. Now, a little trick. Right now, if I were to copy from this and paste it here, it would copy all of the keyframes as well as the drawing exposures, but I'd actually like to just copy all the drawing exposures, like the open eyes, to this spot. And so here in the timeline toolbar, I can choose this mode. It's called Paste Mode Exposures Only. And then I click on this, press Copy, press here, press Paste, and now his eyes are open at that point. And then switch back to the normal mode, which is Paste Mode All Drawing Attributes. This does keyframes as well as drawing exposures. Here, if you only wanted to copy and paste keyframes, you could. Let's wipe out all the tweens. So here, I think his face could use a little bit more, could slow down a little bit. I think this happens really fast, so here I would just press plus, plus, add some timing in there. Hits that really fast right there. Move that.
Sorry, did you want a reaction mode? Oh, sorry, did you want a reaction mode? Oh, sorry, did you want a reaction?
Then I think that it's my fault. I put this all in here. It's a little extreme. I don't want this arm moving around as much as it is right now. So I'm just going to get rid of that. Get rid of that. And let's just try to tone it down a little bit.
Mode? Oh, sorry, did you want a reaction mode? Oh, sorry, did you want a reaction?
So here's the fastest part right there. So I think actually I'm going to go down here, copy, paste that hand. Have it drag a little bit.
Mode? Oh, sorry, did you want a reaction mode? Oh, sorry, did you want a reaction?
I don't think that that's looking so great, but This tutorial is taking a little while, so I'm just going to go ahead and just call it good enough for now. Ease in and out of that. Drag.
You want a reaction? Oh, sorry, did you want a reaction?
Okay, so let's talk about what's going on here. I think it looks too computery and perfect there at the end. I think that that hand... I'm going to delay. Because that hand... Okay.
Oh, sorry, did you want a reaction? Oh, sorry, did you want a reaction? Oh, sorry, did you want a reaction?
I think the back arm needs a little bit of help because it just kind of extends out weirdly.
Oh, sorry, did you want a reaction? Oh, sorry, did you want a reaction? Oh, sorry.
And maybe that arm should even... So it goes up and then have it come down by the end.
Oh, sorry, did you want a reaction? Oh, sorry, did you want a reaction?
And now the timing is feeling better to me. So I'm going to go ahead and add some more tweens, put it on 2. So I'm just going to push this out further, do a tween, move that, just kind of like easing into that last pose. So look at how smooth it looks nice on his face. But now his arm looks like it just doesn't look natural. So I'm going to try to I think it looks better, but I don't want it to stop parallel there. And then what we could even do is we could make, because I think his body coming to rest right now is good, let's go ahead and just extend that arm out a little bit more, that pose, and then do some tweening, ease into it. Let's just stretch that out a little more. Fill out that arc. Okay.
You want a reaction, you want a reaction, you want a reaction, you want a reaction.
There you go. Alright guys, sorry that took so long, but thanks for hanging in there, and I hope that you were able to draw some valuable workflows from this. This is how I usually animate. I hardly ever use the function curves anymore, except for if I'm doing a camera move, but I find that it's best to go ahead and work in the camera view with the transform and the animate current frame tool to make sure that you're filling out those arcs and you're adding in all of those principles of animation that we've learned with squash and stretch and drag and all of those things. So, see you later.